Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Revolutionary Baddies podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I am your host. My name is Dee Dee.
And I am your host, Brittany.
And we are here in season 2. We want to thank you for listening, for tuning in to our podcast. Our podcast is really meant to spread the propaganda. That is what we see as our role, really bringing in conversations around history and politics, revolutions and revolutionaries, and how that connects to today.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be able to continue to do this podcast without you. But we also hope that you will continue to make this podcast possible by sharing and liking, word of mouth, telling people about our podcast. That has actually gotten us a lot of new followers over the past few months. And our Patreon. We have 2 levels. This is to be an official member of the Revolutionary Baddies podcast world. And we have 2 different tiers. Only $3 a month for you to become a day one. That's all. And we have our $10 a month rate for our very special Revolutionary Zaddies. And on our Patreon, you can find all of our episodes in one place. We also have pictures from our in-person events. Our official live podcast recap video is on our Patreon. So lock in.
Yeah.
Please.
You're a fellow baddie.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
I'm excited. I mean, season 2, we are full swing in it. For you all who listened to season 1, once again, we talked about a variety of topics as we will do throughout this season. And I think we have a special focus this season on really thinking about, like, what do we need to build a sustainable revolution? What are key factors in a revolution?
Yeah.
Definitely the topic today.
Yeah, that'll be our main topic. And I think, like, I'm really holding a question, like a larger, like, what does this mean? Like, what actually would this mean for our future if we were to get this? And, like, what actually needs to happen now in order to make this possible? And so I'm holding that question as we're going to be in this deep dive of this very, very large discussion, as we always do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. But it's a beautiful day. How you feeling today?
Today I'm feeling great. I did not go out last night.
What? The streets were.
What a feat.
I'm surprised I didn't get an Amber Alert from
No,
the
you
streets.
didn't. No, you didn't. I made a conscious choice to stay in on a Friday night, even though I got an invitation, which that's rare for me. But, you know, it helped because I got some sleep and got to do a little bit of prep for the episode. And at this point, hopefully this isn't still going on when this episode drops, but SNAP benefits are still cut.
Crazy.
From society, and it just started only a week ago now from when we're recording this. And so many community efforts have been happening over the past few weeks, really. I mean, it's been happening forever, but specifically in rapid response mode to the SNAP benefits being cut. And one of the things is that our co-op market here in Durham basically had a partnership with another organization called Bull City Freebies or something like that. But it's meant to, support local businesses, get local people connected to local businesses. And they were doing a thing where basically you got a $15 credit towards your overall grocery costs. And, it had to be things that weren't alcoholic or CBD, but you could do a little bit of shopping and they gave a $15 credit on whatever you bought. So I took advantage of that today and went to the co-op market. It was a very long line because only one of the cash registers, did the whole service.
Oh Lord.
So the line was like, well, I knew some people actually and we kind of just rotated standing in line and getting stuff and then coming back. But it still took almost an hour.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
To shop
and wait.
Okay.
Shop and wait. Yeah. So the need is there.
No, it is.
Because you can also get cooked food too. So you like hot bar food stuff.
Yeah.
So the need is definitely there. And, it is the future that we are planning for, honestly. This country under capitalism, it's never going to feed its people.
Yeah.
It's not how this works.
No.
Literally.
I think this moment in any moment in time, you can obviously see the very bad parts of it. Yeah. And then you can find some silver linings. And I love to see how much community is stepping in. Mm-hmm. Like, people are being fed. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's a reminder, like, our government never really had intentions to feed us. No. And when they do, it's damn near poisonous what they do try to feed us. Yeah. So it's just a reminder. I think this whole moment right now in American history is a big wake up call. Yeah. What's that? It's like
if you're paying attention,
it's a sound bite on like Instagram or Twitter or something when it's like, he don't love you, dummy. Like, he don't love you, girl. He don't. Yeah. He's not doing that stuff to like send you mixed signals or be mystic. He don't love you. I think this time in the government is like, people are like that, but he don't love me. No. Never did. Never. Pretended at times. Yeah. For sure. Has the propaganda to say, right. Be prideful to be an American. Proud to be an American. But it's we got a raggedy nigga as a government.
Very toxic.
Very toxic.
Very toxic.
So care about us. And so now it's impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
So, but I love that so many people are stepping in and saying, you don't need that man. Come on, girl. I got you.
I got you.
Come get this food.
We're going to figure this out.
We're going to.
And you going to be okay.
Waiting to exhale. But it is a reminder of how, community is life-saving. Yeah. Because if you have a strong community, you will not go without. You will get bed sheets, comforters. Yeah. I actually was talking to someone about meeting them to donate some stuff. And then I got to thinking, I'm like, I got more than just clothes I can get rid of. Like, I have 3 or 4 quality comforter sets that probably aren't going to get put back in the rotation. And they were helping families that pretty much had nothing. And so I'm like, matter of fact, what else can I give around here? I got some comforters. I got some pillows. I got some things.
Yeah. All kind of stuff.
Yeah. But the government, with his rich ass, is a bum.
And like, people, I love how creative people are also being with how they can give. Like, I went to Bright Black. Shout out to Bright Black, which is a black owned candle shop here in Durham. It's also an event space. And they're letting people donate food to them. And if you donate food, however much you donate, you get a free candle. Yeah. And they candles run about $25 a pop. So
and this is a small, and they're a small business
and
too.
They are a small business.
So they are literally letting product that they are counting on some type of profit for out the door.
Exactly.
To help. So,
and I had actually bought over there something that needed to be refrigerated. It was like some like mashed potatoes type thing. I don't know. But I knew I wasn't going to eat it. And they were like, oh, well, we can't hold this. There were like 2 other stalls of organizations that were collecting food. And Durham Community Fridges just opened up another fridge like last weekend at Scrap Exchange. So I was able to take the food there, and there were people there both like putting stuff in there and leaving stuff. It was an ass of bread in there, like a whole fridge filled up of like freshly, what looked like, bakery donated fresh bread. So it was just very cool to see all of that happening in Lakewood.
Yeah. And nobody really should go hungry, because unlike other places that are experiencing famine, which is typically always man-made, but in some places there really is scarcity for food.
Right.
And so it's a shame that people are facing hunger in America, and food is actually in abundance here. We have so much waste at the end of
We have
every day
so much waste
of food. And so it's crazy to think about people not being able to eat because of money. I really have started in my mind looking at money as like survival points in this game that obviously has been set up. So, being able to have housing is really not about the availability of housing or housing shortages in a lot of cases. It's about do you have enough survival points to get housing? Do you have enough survival points to get food?
Right.
And it's pretty sad and ridiculous. But once again, we all we got, and that's enough.
I mean, it always has been. And unfortunately, it's always these moments where people's lives are being sacrificed and exploited on behalf of some fantasy of white supremacy and of capitalism. And which makes sense for the conversation that we're about to have.
Absolutely.
It goes right into it.
Absolutely.
Right into it. And so this episode is about reparations. We've been meaning to get to this, and I feel like I mentioned it a few times, especially in season 1 in different ways, but now we get to go into a deep dive around reparations and what it is.
We need it now. We had been talking about doing this topic for a while. And so I was like, let me start doing my reading, because of course, I know about reparations. I think everyone in general knows what it is and, why we, as a Black person, why we generally feel like we deserve it. But the more you really, once again, study, it's like, not only do I want it, I need it. And I need it right now. It's past due.
Actually, there's some interest due on it.
Whoa. Somebody's walking around here to owe me money. Okay?
Absolutely.
Reparations is one of those topics that I feel like in the Black community, we know it comes up, but it's become almost like something to joke about at this point, because we've dismissed the ability or the possibility that we would get it. Kind of like the ideal of like that we would just really be able to live in peace in this country. Sometimes it just seems so far-fetched because of what we're up against. But I mean, everything that we have now at one point seemed out of reach.
Yeah.
From being brought here desolate with nothing, to being quote unquote emancipated, nothing has looked possible.
Right.
But I was about to start going to a musical, but when you believe. So, I feel like what I want people to take from this episode is to believe.
Yeah.
Just believe that it's possible, politically, economically possible for us to receive reparations. And I want people to know that we deserve it.
Absolutely.
And not on no entitlement stuff. Like, it is a debt that is owed to us.
Been owed.
We deserve it across just the moral principle, financially. Give it to us now. And it's not just because Black people, because of what we've just been through in this country. Reparations is a normal concept. It's not this unique ask
right
by us as a minority group or ethnic group here in the United States. It's something that the United States has paid out before, and they can surely pay it out again.
They definitely can. I mean, they got it.
Yeah.
It's just waiting. It's not even waiting, because the thing is, it ain't like somebody got it earmarked for us. We have to go and seize it.
We got to take it.
Yeah, we absolutely have to take it.
We're not running up into the Capitol.
Yeah.
We're running up into the Treasury. That's where our money is.
Right. And reparations is also one of those topics that it really does. serve as a meter on the level of radicalism that you're at.
Mm-hmm.
There's this book that I'm always talking about, Black Visions, The Roots of Contemporary African American Political Ideologies by Michael Dawson. And in this book, he talks about the most popular of Black African American ideologies. So he talks about Black feminism and radical egalitarianism, which is actually most Black people. He talks about Black conservatism. He talks about Black nationalism. And one of the kind of main concepts that differentiates where you would fall into these categories is the topic of reparations. And do you believe that we deserve it? How you think we should get it? How it should be dispersed? Those questions, those ideas that you have, those beliefs that you have, do actually determine like what category you fall into in terms of political ideologies. So it's a staple concept.
And I think, every group, and even amongst certain groups, there's always going to be this debate about how we should receive reparations.
Of course.
There's always going to be talks about different logistics. Do we get it in cash? Do we get it in the form of subsidized education, and which really all Americans should have. But, what is the specific way? But I think what should not be debatable, definitely amongst us, is that we should get it. That I don't understand.
It's no debate.
If I'm going to go as far as to say, if you do not believe that we deserve reparations, you are anti-Black. The man lives inside of you.
Absolutely.
And that's who's telling you that crazy shit, because reparations is a part of repairing harm.
Right.
So to say that, we don't deserve reparations, you're not really acknowledging the harm that took place, and that there is actually a system of repair that happens across societies.
Across histories. Yeah.
Called reparations. So it's not a new concept.
Right.
And if you think that any other group deserved it and somehow we don't, the man lives inside of you.
The man lives inside of you.
And he is choking the oxygen.
I mean, now it's one thing to believe that it'll never happen.
Right.
That's different.
Yeah, being a little pessimistic, like okay, we probably won't get it.
That's fair.
Yeah,
because we have lots of reasons to believe
we're probably gonna have to take it.
I get that.
Yeah,
but believing that we should not have it.
Yeah.
So if those of you that are listening, I'm gonna assume this is not what you think, but if you know anybody that does think this, we're gonna give you some proper talking points on this one.
Yeah, hopefully, because you're dealing with a coon. You're dealing with a coon, and we're going through a coon apocalypse.
Yeah,
they're coming out left and right.
Absolutely. I mean, but our mission here is to always meet people where they are at.
Absolutely.
But bring them along the way.
Yeah.
We're not gonna leave them there, but we're not gonna stop at meeting people where they at.
No,
that's
you just got to keep an eye on them.
You got to keep an eye on them.
But that's
just one eye.
The Uncle Ruckus eye.
But keep it on them.
Eyes on you now. But with love, because I actually told my mom the other day, we were talking about coons, and I said, honestly, most people were raised to be coons. So it's not their fault a lot of times.
Right.
Some people really did depart from their parents' ways, and now you're this odd, Black Republican MAGA person.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people, if you go back and you talk to you meet their mom and daddy, and this Uncle Ruckus and Mrs. Ruckus, and it's like, okay, you know what? You no one told you it was cool to be Black,
right?
So got to give grace to the coons, but you got to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah,
that's all.
So reparations, once again, as we say, it is not a new concept. It has existed throughout histories, and it is even biblical. Yes.
Brittany is coming through with the Bible verse, y'all.
Today I'm theologian, Brittany. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it in my anti-religion post that rants, but in my post as well online, that I come from 3 generations before me of pastors. So I'm not new to the word.
Okay.
and the light of God is in me.
We also know who our audience is.
Yeah. So I got a little mix for you. I got a little something from the book of Deuteronomy.
Okay.
So grab your non-King James version books, and we'll talk in another episode perhaps about King James. But freeing your servants. Okay, I'm coming out of 15 verse 12 through 15. If any of your people, Hebrew men or women, sell themselves to you and serve you 6 years, in the 7th year you must let them go free. And when you release them, do not send them away empty-handed. Supply them liberally from your flock, your threshing floor, and your winepress. Give to them as the Lord God has blessed you. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you. This is why I give you this command today. And that is the word of God for the people of God.
I mean, so it's, again, literally not new.
Not new. You're supposed, and he said, give them liberally.
Right.
But, chattel slavery was a much different form, a very unique form of slavery that nothing like it existed before.
Yeah.
And really nothing like it has existed since.
Right.
But the Lord God commands that it be given. And the United States government actually has paid reparations out in our short 200 plus year history. Mm-hmm. So reparations was given to Japanese Americans who were survivors of internment camps during World War II. And they received $20,000 each under the Civil Liberties Act of 1988. So
just happened.
Year before we were born. They just got them checks. So don't give up, because World War II happened in the 1940s.
Right.
Native Americans, various tribes have received billions of dollars in compensation for land and resources. And in 1880, 8 tribes were paid $122 million for illegal land seizure. Native Americans definitely deserve reparations.
$122 million is a lot, but they got it in 1980, bruh. Like, this is hundreds of years after colonization.
Yeah.
And only 8 tribes. There are hundreds of tribes, actually.
So they had to split it.
Right.
And then when you get through legal fees and all those things, if it was included in the settlement, I mean, you pretty much just settle with the principle that reparations was paid to you, and then you can invest in some type of land program, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But what's been stolen, you rarely get back. They're just paying you some type of cost analysis for the injury and harm.
Kind of like a relief type of thing. Yeah.
And then there have been reparations paid to the survivors of the Tuskegee syphilis study and to women who were forced victims of the sterilization programs that happened in North Carolina and Virginia. And some money was paid to survivors in the 1923 Rosewood, Florida race massacre. And we see it across other histories as well. Yeah. Germany has paid reparations to Jews. Germany has also paid some form of reparations for the genocide that they committed in Southern Africa as well. That is not talked about as much as obviously the Holocaust. So
right.
Victims deserve compensation.
And I mean, there's endless moments in history, the amount of riots that have happened in cities across this country's history, they would have to be repairing for through their days if they really cared and gave a fuck about it. And Black people have been fighting for reparations since Emancipation Proclamation.
Absolutely.
Many Black people have formed organizations. Abolitionists have linked up with politicians to try to really push on basically, I mean, meeting the promises that they had already made. For instance, like to 40 acres and the mule, which they ended up rescinding and taking back. So Black people have been fighting around this issue for literal centuries.
And that's why the debt is accumulating.
Exactly. On top of the instances beyond chattel slavery.
Yeah. And I think that's another way in which the conversation has been like co-opted, or like the mainstream debates that we've seen about reparations. It's been, do Black people deserve reparations for slavery? 1, yes. 2, you can't even come up with a number big enough. But also, reparations goes beyond chattel slavery. So it's easy for people to try to say, oh, you really want to be repaid for something your people experienced 150 years ago? And it's like, I would like reparations for the shit that's going on today.
Right now.
Right this moment.
Literally right now.
like, as we talked about before.
The things that we've lived through as millennials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Run everything. All of it.
Yeah. Pay people SNAP. I mean, damn, just simple things. Like, people deserve to get things from their government. So listen to this in my psyop voice. People deserve to get benefits from their government.
Yeah. It's why it's the only reason why it should exist.
We should be receiving monthly benefits from our government because we power and sustain and fund our government.
Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't happen magically, and it doesn't happen because they don't really want it any other way. They want people to pay up, but also because we live under capitalism, they don't actually want to provide people with what they need.
No.
There's a couple of books that talk about the history of the fight for reparations. One of the most clear and concise, smart books is one called From Here to Equality, Reparations for Black Americans in the 21st Century. This is by William A. Darity Jr. and Kirsten Mullen. And William Darity is a professor here in Durham at Duke, and he talks a lot about reparations. And one of the major things that he pushes is that the wealth inequality that we have in this country is not because of Black people. It's not because we're not working hard enough. It's not because we're not using the power of our dollar in some specific way. It's not because we don't have enough financial literacy. It's not because we're not saving enough money. It's not because we're not getting good enough jobs. It's not any of those things. It's not because we're less educated. It's not like none of the economic wealth inequality that we have in this country is because of Black people. So that's kind of the big argument that he's making.
Yeah. Unless once you understand that, then there has to be, because I think a lot of times when we have discussions about racism and how it affects us and everything, we always just talk about how we're affected. But we rarely talk about how it can be repaired, or like, that's not the end of the story.
Yeah.
Oh, we're in this situation because they put crack in our community, or we're in this situation because of mass incarceration. Right. We're in this place and circumstance because of systems, and systems can change. Right. And systems can be built.
And have changed, yeah.
Have changed and can be built to repay us in some type of way. So it's not just this, oh, well, you know what? For every dollar the Black household has, the white household has 10.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that why does the conversation end there?
Yeah.
And if we know why, we have to turn it around.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah, I mean, the history also speaks to the amount of work, that goes into this fight for reparations, because, again, these crackers ain't even want us to be free. let alone give some money
Not in
for
the
us
playbook.
for us to make it even better than they would.
Yeah.
To be honest, one of my absolute favorites, our heroes, Ida B. Wells. She had this quote that was held that lives in this piece that she has called Class Legislation in 1893. And so her quote is, "The Civil War of 1861 to 1865 ended slavery. It left us free, but it also left us homeless, penniless, ignorant, nameless, and friendless. Russia's liberated serf was given 3 acres of land and agricultural implements with which to begin his career of liberty and independence. But to us, no foot of land nor implement was given. We were turned loose to starvation, destitution, and death. So desperate was our condition that some of our statesmen declared it useless to try to save us by legislation, as we were doomed to extinction." I mean, could you imagine living through this 4-year war? Black people are running away, first of all, escaping their masters and their plantations to join, in a lot of cases, the Union, to fight in this war. You fight it, emancipation happens, and then you're homeless and penniless, and you don't know how to read or write. Like, that's the condition that they left us in, even with this huge proclamation. And I think we just think like, okay, after it happened, what happened the day after?
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine there was some level of celebrations, but then what?
Yeah. And you know what? We began the process, as we've done over and over again, of rebuilding.
Yeah.
We always persevere. And what has been, I think, to the shock of those who hate us, is our ability to somehow take nothing and make it into something.
Yep. And
another reason we're owed reparations is because every time that we tried to rebuild, it was systemically attacked, whether it was creating predatory systems to steal our land that we did rightfully buy. I'm talking about, there were people who were emancipated from slavery who somehow scrapped together enough money with other families or their own family, what they had of it, and bought land legitimately and began to farm and care for their land, only for immediately or in future generations that land to be systemically targeted and stolen from them.
Absolutely.
And that land had value.
Yeah.
So we have continued to build, but we literally were turned loose with nothing. Which is against the word of God.
Right. and if you had anything, it was always under threat. There was no stability for it. There's no safety around it in this country.
Yeah.
Because that's not what they wanted to happen anyway. There was a radical wing of the Republican Party at this time. And the Republican Party at this time, which is different from now, was the party that a lot of the abolitionists had to collaborate with in order to get as far as an Emancipation Proclamation, along with many other things that they collaborated on. But this kind of radical wing of the Republican Party was led by Thaddeus Stevens, Charles Sumner, and John C. Fremont. And they really advocated that the lands that was owned by the former Confederate, that land be, it was already abandoned, much of it, and so it should be confiscated, and it should be allotted to the new freedmen or ex-slaves. And of course, in many of their attempts, that was just, one idea that they had around the land back, but many of them did not make it very far. And at this time, Frederick Douglass was kind of amongst the abolitionists crew of black people, black writers at the time, speakers, and he actually was not really fucking with this like land back idea. He felt like black people wouldn't take eagerly to having to agriculture and having to farm and work the land, because it gave the nature of slavery, even though people were free, freed at that point. But also recognizing that, and what he said was around like black people really being, because of slavery, it really robbed black people of a sense of like self-sufficiency in order to become an independent farmer. And so he really wasn't fucking with the idea at the beginning, but he later, regretted it and joined in the push and the organizing that was happening towards reparations, and became a big advocate for it, also referencing the Russia's liberated serfs, as I.W. Wells also did. So they use these examples, but not everybody was with it, at that time. So I think it's important to know that even after one plan is done, there's the next chapter. Mm-hmm. There's the next lap. Because freedom is a marathon. It's not a fucking
constant struggle. Like in Haiti, once exactly. They got rid of the French, there were other colonial forces still always trying to take Haiti back.
Yeah.
And I mean, Haiti is still being punished till this day. And they are actually, like a lot of countries that were liberated, even though Haiti got its liberation, over 100 years ago, is that a lot of these countries end up somehow owing colonial countries money because of how they've set up things through like the World Bank. Mm-hmm. And so, it's always going to be a constant fight. We see that across Africa today, where they are literally still fighting in some countries 50 and 60 years post-colonialism.
Right.
To maintain their freedom and self-determination. And
their resources.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's the ultimate capture for the capitalists.
Thieves.
His natural resources.
I want to talk, I said like I'm about to get deep into it. But ultimately, I think when we think of stealing and we think of thieves, we think of low-level crimes.
Yeah.
Right? But what has happened, colonialism is this massive project to steal.
Yeah.
Steal people, which are viewed as natural resources. Unfortunately, as I said in our very first episode, we are the descendants of loot. Right. Black people being in this country was because colonial powers went into Africa, looted humans.
Yeah.
Resources.
Customs, recipes.
Spices, herbs, medicines, everything. Yeah. And then packed it on a ship like loot and shipped it elsewhere. We are loot. So when we talk about theft, a lot of times, what's the first thing that happens if somebody steals something from you and you know them? You come to them, you either decide if you're going to beat their ass or you're going to be like, look, man, give my money back. Or give my, give my stuff back.
Right.
So that's what it is that there has been a lot of stealing, whether it's land, resources.
It still is, right? The culture vultures. We have different names for it now, but it is the same thing. It is the same thing. It is the skill that they have passed down to each other as well.
They are the best thieves. Right now, we see,
their generational skills.
Who knows where we'll be at with this when this episode launches? But right now, the Trump administration is trying to launch attacks in Venezuela. And Nigeria, and now Nigeria is up on the
how Nigeria get into it, and also the missiles that have been going in the Caribbean,
to try to bait Venezuela, into war, and talking about
killing because of the innocent people, regular ass fishermen.
They're just out in the water, and they're like, we blew them up by a drone. And we didn't even approach them to arrest them or anything. And so what all they're doing is, I really want to call the Trump administration and say, do you need some money?
Terrorists.
Because
terrorists.
Y'all are really going to rob Venezuela of its oil.
Right.
Nigeria has oil and other resources. somebody, the real power players, not the Musk and the Jeff Bezos, but the people who own oil companies, the
that
oil
we don't know.
we'll never know their names, that own war manufacturing companies, the Halliburton, shout out to Dick Cheney dying.
Thank God.
They are really like, it's time to rob. Do you need some money? And so that theft that they want to do in Venezuela, those people are going to have to fight to protect their possessions, because that's the colonial project.
Yeah.
To steal.
Yeah. Yeah. They won't let them people rest. They're not going to do it. That's not in the nature of the United States imperialism plan.
Thieves.
Straight thieves.
All of this war is not about ideology at all. There is an ideology that props it up and maintains it, which is white supremacy.
Yeah.
But it's really about stealing.
Yeah. Power hegemony. Power hegemony. I mean, what it's gonna take it's gonna take us having a very sober assessment about what we are up against, because it can feel incredibly overwhelming.
Yeah.
Just the amount of U.S. military bases that are spread throughout the country, just the amount of billionaires. Apparently Elon Musk is on track to become the world's first trillionaire. Like, what is that? Like, it is a level we are fighting well above our weight class, it often feels like. But organizing has always happened, and that's why we always try to provide history for folks, because people have built amazing, powerful things with impossible odds against them. So one organization and hero that I really want to call to the front is one of our earliest known champions of reparations, and
a revolutionary baddie.
You guessed it. She was a Black woman,
always
from the South. Nonetheless, her name is Mrs. Callie Guy House, and she was born in slavery around 1861. So this is about 4 years before emancipation, in Tennessee. And she was a widow and a mother of 5 kids. And she was a self-employed laundry worker and a clothes maker in the kind of middle Tennessee area. And there were these pamphlets that were circling around that were coming from this white Southern Democrat from Nebraska. And he was circulating this pamphlet that was about an ex-slave pension bill. Was something that he was kind of pumping, that he was pushing, this idea of claiming some of the funds and land from folks in the Confederate, and that being put towards an overall pension that ex-slaves could access. And she got a pamphlet and started supporting this guy and his work. His last name was Vaughn, but he was a politician from Nebraska. And I mean, at this point, he's a white Southern Democrat, so this is actually pretty radical, and pretty left for him at this point. And so she joined him and was organizing, passing out the pamphlets with him. But then, crack is gonna crack, and he decided to change his tactics to really focus on what was then changed to a Southern tax relief bill. And the idea was that, most of the businesses, small businesses, large businesses, companies that existed in the South and in the country were white businesses. And so by providing a tax relief so that Black people would then be able to spend their money in these white establishments, will basically have this, create this kind of reciprocal process between Black and white people and business owners. I mean, just this is in the 1870s,
right,
when he's pushing this, right? And so it was a completely segregated country that had just came out of chattel slavery. So, of course it wasn't going to work. And she broke off her partnership. Mrs. Callie broke off her partnership with him, due to changes in principle and in tactics. But she learned a lot from this process and collaborated with a local minister and founded the grassroots National Ex-Slave Mutual Relief, Bounty, and Pension Association. And this was created in Nashville, Tennessee.
That when Dee Dee first told me the story about Miss Callie, I was like, one, blown away, because obviously we never hear enough about women's stories. And this is just an important story, what she went on to build, which Dee Dee will give you more on that. But, when I heard the story, I'm like, what old boy did, Vaughn, is the Democrats must have studied his playbook bar for bar, word for word,
bar for bar.
That is liberalism at its core. It's about bringing a liberalism and how it functions now in our political system. They do more of the identity politics thing. So we're going to do these incentives that benefit minority groups while we're running it, while we're in the talking phase of it. But when it's time to actually execute, a lot of concessions get made.
Absolutely.
And a lot of changes happen, and a lot of bills never leave the House's floor, including that there is a current reparations bill that has sat idle across Democratic and Republican led Congress and executive branch and judicial branch. And it has remained stagnant. And
so many administrations.
So many. So when we talk about shout out to Mondani, who just won in New York.
Shout out to Mondani Stein.
So the conversation is now towards socialism, and that's because Fred Hampton said it. The cure to capitalism is socialism, not the best Democratic candidate we can get, because they leave too much on. They leaving the money on the flow.
They switching up. They gonna bend as soon as they get a little folded.
Oh well, y'all. I don't think we're gonna get enough votes. Put it up for a vote. Put it up.
Let's see. That's because it's not the point. It's not the point.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing about this particular this white Southern Democrat Vaughn is, he's passing out these pamphlets. People are paying for these pamphlets. He was selling them for about $1 a piece. So in the years that he was pumping these pamphlet bills, having random black people join him in this effort, he racked up about over $100K, which at that point is like $1 million.
Yeah.
He racked up his coins on that pamphlet, and he went on about his business. And that was the end of his story. But the great thing about Mrs. House is that she continued. She built this massive grassroots organization. It was specifically mainly like 4 main things that they really wanted to get done. Firstly, they wanted to be able to identify the ex-slaves. Where are they at, and add their names to this petition. The second thing was, and the main thing was lobbying to Congress to provide pensions to 1.9 million ex-slaves by 1899. So they had a very specific goal, right, of 1.9 million ex-slaves, which at the time was only 21% of the black people that were in the country. And they just wanted that portion of people to receive their pensions by 1899. It doesn't say how much, but that was their main thing. They also wanted to start local chapters and be able to provide members with financial support for different things, and also to provide burial assistance payment whenever a member died. And so it was kind of this 360 approach to supporting ex-slaves as they were members of this organization. And within 2 years, it grew to 34,000 members.
Crazy.
This is dues paying
no social
members.
media.
No social media at all.
No, people just putting in the
Barely,
work.
I mean, just barely written media existed.
And
at
these
the
are
point.
people who were mostly not literate because once again, they were freshly emancipated.
Exactly. But they decided to join this organization. And by 1916, they were around 300,000 members. So
Crazy.
that's like right before basically the organization was destroyed by the US government, but they made it to 300,000 members. That is a lot of fucking people throughout this country. Black people, ex-slaves, dues paying, building chapters, lobbying Congress, creating mutual aid efforts. Like, people were really doing this shit.
And you have to think about it when you say, even if a black organization today got 300,000 members, that would be a lot. And it's about 40 million African Americans.
40 million.
But this is when there were only about, population wise, there was only about 4 million of us.
Yeah.
So this was literally a significant portion. I'm not doing my math calculations, but this is over a tenth of all African Americans were in this organization.
It's about a sixth. Yeah, of people. They again organized all these years throughout the South. But it was a national organization, and they faced a lot of retaliation. But one of the main things that they did was they filed a lawsuit. So they filed a lawsuit against the federal government, really targeting the U.S. Department of Treasury.
Run up in it.
And mind you, the organization only lasted about 20 years. But from its inception, basically, they were being attacked and haunted by the U.S. government. One of the founders, who was a local minister, he was put in jail. And again, because they were collecting dues, they basically tried to say that that these people were collecting money on a different pretense, like under pretense or whatever the fuck. And so they filed a lawsuit really targeting the U.S. Treasury Department. And they didn't win, and they didn't win the lawsuit. The federal government retaliated, saying that they were stealing dues from people and promising them reparations, and they arrested and charged. She ended up pleading guilty because she genuinely was under the pretense that people were going to receive reparations, and they convicted her, put her in prison for almost a year, and that really led to the destruction of this organization, unfortunately. Even though many of the followers continue to advance the campaign, the bones of the organization have really crumbled due to the attacks from the federal government. But many of those followers, many of those 300,000 members of this organization ended up becoming members of Marcus Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association, which was also it is one of the largest black formations that's ever existed in this country. Many of those folks that left the Reparations organization joined Marcus Garvey's, and so we want to give our props to the black woman that helped make history.
Because I'm sure a lot of that infrastructure that she had in place with the different chapters, it was easier for Marcus Garvey's organization to kind of come in and like take it under its wing.
Exactly. And really, continue to advance the fight, in different ways, but definitely continuing to advance the fight. And so really wanted to make sure that we named some of the pioneers that just get a little lost in our history. Black women, especially
if she was doing the work of reparations.
Black mom. She was a mother of 5
out here in the late 1800s.
She was going around speaking. She was going to universities. Wherever she was invited, she was going and speaking and organizing people and getting names on this petition to join this organization and join this fight for reparations. So
you never know when you're doing the work who'll talk about you in 100 years.
I know. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. So she's mentioned in William Darity's book. She's also talked about in Freedom Dreams, which is a book by Robin D.G. Kelley that I just started reading, but I flipped to the chapter on reparations, and some of what we talked about is mentioned there as well.
Yeah. And just shout out to, once again, all of the people who were emancipated, who with all of their trauma, all of their experiences, and nothing handed to them, created these blueprints for us. Yeah. That's when we talk about venerating the ancestors, thanking the ancestors. These are people who actually fought, died, were convicted, jailed, sacrificed. You want to talk about the ultimate sacrifice?
We talked about that on the last episode.
Okay. So shout out to our ancestors, because they did a lot with nothing. Yeah. With all of the things that were on them, just as individuals emotionally, and how they were really dehumanized in their society more than we are today.
Exactly.
So, yeah, when I was reading for reparations, I jumped into a modern writer, which, I mean, those are modern writers, but the case for reparations was more of a modern appeal for why we need reparations, which was written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And he wrote this essay for The Atlantic years ago. But he really focused specifically on a man named Clyde Ross and his experience of doing what so many black people did during the Great Migration, which is to leave the Jim Crow South and to come north to escape the terror. Yeah. And in Sinners, Smoke and Stack are asked by Sammy, like, why'd y'all come back from, Chicago? And, I would love to go. And he said, boy, Mississippi ain't nothing but Chicago. Good Lord. Yeah, Chicago ain't nothing but Mississippi with tall buildings. And what he was really speaking to is that there were other pervasive forms of oppression in the North and Midwest, and really throughout America, right? It wasn't just North and South. And so this man, Clyde Ross, his pretty much, even going back to before he came to Chicago, his father owned land. So his family owned land, and they had their respect. They had their autonomy. They grew food. They had a couple of pigs, a couple of cows, different things of the sort. They were self-sufficient, which is what this country always say they want black people to be. Y'all need to be more self-sufficient. Y'all, right? Yeah. And his father's land was stolen from him by white supremacists who tried to, his father couldn't read. They tried to say something about the deed. He didn't pay a tax. And, what was his father going to do? Pay an attorney, to fight this? And so that was one way in which theft occurred that can be repaid, because you can quantify the value of the land that was stolen from his family. But Clyde went off to war. He fought in World War I, and he went to Chicago. And he tried to do what so many other veterans did and people coming to the North. He wanted to start a family and own something, own a house. And so one of the biggest, out of just the theft of our bodies and our labors, has been the theft of our land and our ability to build equity and some form of wealth in this country through home ownership, which is how millions of white people have established themselves. Right. Owning a little piece of land with a home on it. And Clyde was a part of this system, part of these predatory housing practices, where seemingly when a lot of these African Americans were coming into Chicago, there was a lot of resistance by white people. Like, you will not move into these neighborhoods. But then a seeming ally, the Jewish community, started to say, well, no, we can welcome them into certain communities and start the process of integration, right? Sounds great. Sounds dreamy. But a lot of these people were practicing the predatory housing systems. So the one that Clyde Ross fell victim to was called On Contract. And it was pretty much a predatory agreement that combined all the responsibilities of home ownership with all of the disadvantages of renting, while offering the benefits of neither. So what some of these Jewish American real estate people would do was buy a home from a white person who was basically doing like white flight. Like, you got to get out of here. They were doing this thing called block busting, where they were like, the blacks are coming. They would pay a black woman to roll a stroller down a neighborhood so that white people could see it and think that black people were coming to their neighborhood or already moving into surrounding neighborhoods. That was in the case for reparations. And so they would sell their homes at, maybe for $10,000 to this middleman. The middleman would then find African Americans and sell it to them for $25,000, $30,000. But they had to pay a large deposit, and they essentially were renting it. If they were late on one payment, they would lose their deposit, and there was no equity in the home. But a lot of these people thought they were actually purchasing the home,
right?
As if they had got it mortgaged from a bank,
right?
And so what they would do is, of course, people would fall on hard times, miss a payment, they kick them out, they bring somebody else in and do this whole system again. And one gentleman in particular, I think he went on to own like over 60,000 properties in Chicago where he was doing this system. And so Clyde eventually joined the organization that went to sue. For the predatory practices that were allowed by the housing department. And they, of course, lost. But what they were seeking was reparations. And another word for that in the legal sense is restitution.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And so when, you talk about Callie, the first thing they did was take it to court. These lawsuits are not just about the principle. It is a legal matter that we have had legalized theft.
Yeah.
And so there should be, once again, a system to repair that or to pay restitution to us.
Yeah, there should be some justice for sure. That's all it is.
I think that is the ultimate justice that I could see in this country. Like, what justice is owed to us? That. Yeah.
There's a couple of efforts that, again, have been unsuccessful of moving towards some level of reparations. There's an organization called NCOBRA, which stands for National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America, and they were founded in the 1980s. And their main point is like reparations is about more than just money. It is about the repair. It is about the healing. It is about the restoration of society and of justice. And their big bill is, I believe it's HB 40, but it is to establish, this is just to establish the commission to study and develop reparations proposals for African Americans. So this is just a commission that's going to study it. The ironic thing is these commissions to study things also has a history, especially as it relates to black people, black race and class. Those two, the history of developing these studies, these comprehensive, qualified research projects, also comes from instances of white supremacy. And so Brittany earlier mentioned Rosewood, which was a race riot that happened in Florida in the 1920s, massive one. People should definitely look up the history of Rosewood. But also Red Summer, which was in Chicago when so this is during Jim Crow era. And for those that don't know, Chicago has beaches and huge beach along the lake. And at this time, it was segregated. The northern part of the beach was reserved for the white people, and the south side of Chicago, was where all the black folks were and swam. And a young black boy, drifted into the white area of the lake.
Lake.
Which, like, how you draw a fucking line in the lake, but as white people do. This little boy drifted over. And white people saw him, and he was killed essentially by these white folks, and it launched a huge summer of rioting of white people against black people because of this. and many black people were killed, and then white people were also killed. There would be white mobs of hundreds of white people harassing the fuck out of people in Chicago on a regular basis. And what came out of that was the politicians for the state of Illinois decided to create this commission to study the racial dynamics and the class dynamics, the social economic dynamics of people in Chicago. But they didn't come forth with no damn reparations. And their recommendations was also not related to any of the mobs, riots, the killings, the burnings that happened in that summer were not included in this report. And so the report, even the idea of developing a commission to study these things, has a history to it in this country that matters.
Yeah. And, Coates, as he always does, he lays out this beautiful case for reparations, really by telling these stories. And of course, hitting you with some facts like the AP in 2001, the AP published a 3-part investigation into the theft of black owned land stretching back to the antebellum period. The series documented some 406 victims and 24,000 acres of land valued at tens of millions of dollars. So like he gives information like that where you can quantify the damage and the harm done to us. But in the end, he really ends the essay with America being brave enough to have this conversation, make it a national conversation via having some type of truth and reconciliation board, some type of study into the harm, the financial harm, right? We know a lot of the trauma that has come out of chattel slavery, but the financial harm that has come against us, and like I say, not just from chattel slavery, but coming up into present day issues, modern day housing and land theft issues, that just being able to have the conversation would transform America within itself. Being able to have an honest conversation. And he said it really would display the maturity of a country, because he said after the Holocaust, when Germany realized they had to right certain wrongs. Yeah. And whether, you can get into how much morally they believed in certain things. Yeah. But being able to say there was a debt, because literally when the Holocaust wasn't just stealing and killing Jews, they stole their possessions. They had wealth in the country. They stole their jewels. They stole their artwork, their land, their businesses. Yeah. And so that debt had to be repaid. Right. It wasn't just, payment for emotional distress. Right. It was real
things that you like feel like will be just so difficult to quantify.
Yeah, no,
there are things. There's receipts.
There are people for that. We have experts who they're called historians and archivists. Like there are actual people who can help us, investigative journalists.
This is what they do.
Quantify these things and say this is how it should be repaid.
Exactly.
And what people have to also understand is, okay, so this particular study had 406 identified victims of land theft, but what the system of robbery does is not only does it take land from actual individuals, it discourages a whole ethnic group from even pursuing certain pursuits because it is a predatory system. Right. So how many more people, black people, would have owned land, would have started businesses if there wasn't a constant intimidation, fear, and actual laws redlining their actual business practices aligned with the government to disenfranchise us. So for every one victim who actually had their land or possessions stolen from them, there were probably 10 people surrounding them that said, why would I even try?
Right. Exactly.
Just to work hard, and literally black people would start a business and someone would come firebomb it. Yep. Why would I even open the business when there's racial terror roaming through the summer, red summer? Why would
roaming and loose, unchecked, Yeah.
Officers of the law participating in it.
Absolutely. Participating in it, withholding information, protecting them.
Yeah.
Because they, obviously because they are part of it. And it goes back to what Ida B. Wells was saying of like, we were turned loose to starvation, destitution, and death.
Yeah.
That is what she means. And so this kind of begs the argument even more of why it isn't our fault that financially and economically we are in the place as Black people that we are in. There is no power of the Black dollar. That is a myth, because we actually as people do not have wealth.
Yeah.
We don't have wealth, y'all. People have things, absolutely. But when we talk about systemically, generationally, in the way that white people have been able to obtain and maintain their wealth, their land, because of all of the theft that they've partaken in over the years, like the Homestead Act was a huge transformational moment economically for people in this country. And the people that benefited the most from the Homestead Act was white people.
Yeah.
And just, what might have been, in the early 1900s, 1.4 million, let's say 1.4 million white people that benefited from it, that accumulated over time to like 50, 60, probably 100 million people of their descendants that are benefited from it. And it is not the same amount of impact that is sustained, maintained, and grown over the years by Black people. And it is because we live in a racial capitalist society. And so it's not, I think that people should absolutely get, financial literacy. People should, save their money. Sure. Yeah. You should definitely become an entrepreneur, work for yourself.
I think it'll help on an individual. It'll help individuals out for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people have been helped individually, but those are not markers for what exists for even most people. And the success of your business, of your entrepreneurship, is also not pendant solely on your efforts. Right. It's not pendant solely on other Black people also supporting you. For example, just numbers wise in this country, and this is why we're always preaching about the demon of racial capitalism, because it's real. Like, Walmart is one company, but it is the biggest. Mm-hmm. It's the baddest in this country. They have grossed $482 billion in revenue in 1 year. $482 billion in revenue. If you were to take the top 100 Black-owned corporations, companies, firms, if you were to take the top 100 of those, combined all of their revenue, and times it by 16, you might meet Walmart's number. You might. This is 100 Black-owned businesses. All of their revenue put together, times 16, is just meeting this one company's revenue. Mm-hmm. It is not because of us that we are in the economic disaster and survival mode that we have always needed to be on and continue to be on.
And when we talk, and because we have been systemically targeted economically to keep us disenfranchised,
absolutely,
it breeds other problems. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I have the book Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome with me. But when we talk about the Black family, mm-hmm. that's been and I think that, that's been a big topic. It's a buzzword, the Black family, the fatherless home. There's so much discourse around, right? Yeah. The Black family and how fragmented we are. But when Clyde Ross, the guy that Ta-Nehisi Coates focused his case for reparations on, he talked about how hard him and his wife had to work to make sure that they did not miss payments and to do everything to keep a decent home, and try to be in a decent neighborhood. And they wanted to send their children to play sports, and one was really into like art and music. But because they were a part of this predatory housing system, all of their money was drained just to simply keep a roof over their head. And so once again, when you look at this individual story, he said, we weren't home with our kids. We didn't get to raise our children. Because of this economic exploitation of Black people as a working class, the majority of the working class here in America, we have had to abandon our children's dreams, giving them attention. And so this also snowballs in issues when they say not only, why Black people don't have generational wealth, or why don't we have money, or why these young boys be walking the street like they ain't got nothing to do. Their parents are working 2 and 3 jobs trying to take care of them.
That's why.
Because we have been robbed generationally of the ability to create a soft life. Right, for our children. Right. And some of us have been blessed to be able to maybe become stay-at-home mothers or something because someone else has a nice income, or we have enough income and benefits to be able to do it for a certain amount of time. But ultimately, it is this huge ripple effect of this robbery that has happened, perpetuated against us. And so, it is not a matter of like, y'all just need to raise y'all sons and get y'all money up. And so many of us repeat it, honestly,
in different ways.
Dee Dee reminded me just earlier in the episode of the grace for the coons, a little bit of grace, meeting people were there. Because honestly, that's what the man that lives inside of us repeats. That's on that chatterbox. Man, if we could just get ourselves,
if we could just get ourselves together, if we just stop killing each other, if we could just just go back to these days,
get out the hood mentality, that hood mentality, not realizing that the creation of hoods was a part of that economic disenfranchisement for housing, and how neighborhoods were literally built to keep concentrated poverty.
It wasn't up to us.
Nothing was.
Hello. It wasn't up to us. It was just the options that were handed. And I think that Black people in this country have shown up for each other time and time again to be like, this should not be the option that we are handed. We are deserving of so much
we have
more,
to increase,
especially for the atrocities.
We have to increase our racial self-esteem. So there's when we talk about reparations today, right? So there's been the past conversations, but we are the adults now, guys. From my millennials,
it's us.
It's on us, I guess.
They're gonna be watching us,
and so we are the future ancestors. But I love that how we can be visionary and play with the ideal of reparations now, because we are in a different landscape in so many ways. So I don't know if you all love Atlanta, but I do.
I love that show.
Love it down. Okay. Say what you want about Donald Glover, but he did his thing with Atlanta.
It's on Hulu, I believe.
And so season 3, there are episodes that have none of the cast in it, and they are just random episodes about whatever. But there is this theme that kind of exists within some of them. But there's an episode called The Big Payback.
Yes.
Episode 4, season 3, in which there is now this thing going on where Black people, kind of like with the DNA testing, like a 1, 2, 3 ancestry, people are finding out which white people own their ancestors and are suing them, once again, a legal process, petitioning and suing them for reparations. And so we have a character who's like, nah, it couldn't be me. He's one of those white guys like, nah, I think my dad was from like Poland or, somewhere like, no, my family didn't participate in slavery. They were Irish or something like that. I hear sometimes. And so like, why would I have to pay? But anyway, somebody is linked. Somebody has found that his great granddaddy owned their family. And she goes to not only sue him for reparations, but she's harassing him. She's on some, I'm gonna run up in your house because this about to be mine. Like she's terrorizing this character. And so he gets out of town literally because when he pulls up to her house, they're having a fish fry, and her son chases him. Like, it's Atlanta, right? And so he goes to this hotel where he's hiding out, and he's in the lobby talking to another white guy. and they strike up a conversation, and pretty much he realizes that the white guy too recently had to pay reparations.
Period.
And he's like, this isn't fair. And so the white guy, whose name is Ernest, he says to him, he said, my grandfather used to tell me how his father built everything we had from the ground up, pulled himself up by his own bootstraps, Turns out he didn't. Turns out he had a lot of help and a lot of kids. Okay, what do those kids look like? Maybe it's only right. And the other character says, we don't deserve this. And he says, well, what do they deserve? We are treating slavery as if it were a mystery buried in the past, something to investigate if we choose to. And now that history has a monetary value, confession is not absolution. And in the case of this person, what's her name? Shaniqua? To Shaniqua and them, slavery is not the past. It's not a mystery. It's not a historical curiosity. It is a cruel, unavoidable ghost that haunts in a way that we can't see. None of us are perfect. So now, what do you want to do? You're going to have to be separated from your wife. She's going to be the one taking care of the kids. She's going to have the rights. He's like, right. A similar position to what we put them in. Mm-hmm. He said, but we're going to be okay. Your daughter's going to be okay. The curse has been lifted from her, from all of us. We were running from it, but now we're free. I said, give this nigga Donald Glover the Golden Globe for who wrote that. I don't know who wrote that particular episode, but he's saying that God forbid, white people are ever put in, not put into chattel slavery and having to rebuild themselves. No, God forbid we didn't say that. Have any inconvenience in these people getting what they rightfully deserve.
Right.
And I love that he said confession is not absolution. America really be like, all right,
fine,
we did put the crack in the neighborhoods, we have done over incarceration, we did do the war on drugs, we did do the war on crime, and we know
did kill these niggas, we did kill Tupac, we did
blow up that place in Philly in 1985, right. And we did steal land, and we did have these practices, but you know what, we did it, and it was bad.
Thank y'all so much for bringing it to our attention.
And we love our strong black women and men who rise again.
We gonna wear kente cloths tomorrow.
How about a cookout at the White House lawn? Yeah, we gonna have jazz, smooth jazz, and brine fried chicken. This was brine and sweet tea.
Snoop Dogg and Nelly for your entertainment.
Oprah and Gail will be there.
They will be there. They won't be taking any pictures or signing anything.
Yes.
But they'll be there.
Let's have a lunch to celebrate you niggas' hard work and being just good victims.
Just thank you.
Damn, y'all are the best victims we've ever had.
Hands down.
Don't even want to steal from us. Y'all just still trying to build again.
And don't want to leave.
I think we'll steal that too. So it's like, I love the acknowledgement. I love the Juneteenth is now a federal holiday. I love it.
I love it.
I think it's cute.
We need a longer month.
But it's not absolution. You're not off the hook
at all. Not even a little bit.
And so people have to look at it. Also, I think black people, when we have this conversation, it's not about, okay, white people owe us money. The government. If you don't feel comfortable saying white people do.
But white people, black people, we like, oh, this random white man paid for my drink. I know that's right. I need my reparations. People will say that just so loosely, and that shit is so funny to me.
Because I ain't gonna lie, I got some coins from.
Now it is incorrect.
It's not enough.
Let's just agree. It is incorrect to say, to be like, oh, this random ass white person that just by them providing you with something that you did not expect them to provide you with, that's not reparations. That is not reparations, y'all. We can agree. We can say it jokingly, know that it's incorrect, but fight for more.
Yeah, because if they want to give a little money, that's fine.
That's fine.
But the government owes me the money.
U.S. Treasury Department.
I want the Treasury stamp on it. I want the letter that says, "Dear Miss Rodman."
Yeah.
When you open the mail, you get something from the government. "Dear Miss Rodman." Oh, this is official. I want the water stamp. the watermark, whatever.
Absolutely.
I want the wax seal on it.
I want the real deal.
I want another stimulus check. When them stimulus checks was coming out, I said, this is a start.
This is barely a start. This just getting us in the dough.
This is, a little change.
This just put me in the line.
A little lunch money.
A little something.
That's it.
It's gone.
But the repair we need. I also read the book I'd Rather Us Got Casinos by Larry Wilmore.
Yeah.
If you don't know him, he is a writer and executive producer of shows. He did The Daily Show, The Colbert Report, and he also, I believe, has written with Insecure. But anyway, he does a lot of satirical writing. And pretty much it's a series of essays. In one essay, he said, pretty much we'll take the Superdome. Give us the Superdome. Mm-hmm. And he's pretty much saying if, we can't agree on reparations for slavery, fine. He's like, but we could start with Katrina.
Yeah. We can start from right here.
We can start now.
Right now.
He said, nothing has done more to ruin race relations in the U.S. since the government's failure in Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
Which I can agree in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, you know what? Give black people the Superdome. And he said, you know what? If you don't want to give it to all black people, give it to people in New Orleans. And he said, you know what? We could do a similar program. He said, all of the black people who were cheated out of their votes during the 2000 presidential election between George Bush and Al Gore, give them Disney World. Like, just monuments. Like, you just got to pay it up somehow. And so I like, obviously there's a heavy layer of satire in it, but he's talking about reparations in this way of repairing harm, restitution for these acts that we can, once again, we saw Katrina unfold with our very eyes.
Right.
And so those people did not deserve confession as absolution. Yeah, the government, FEMA failed.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I got.
All right.
And it's also barely a confession because it's also not, it's not the full story.
No.
Right? Like, they're not apologizing for the fact that there were a whole brigade of, for instance, volunteer doctors from Cuba that were on the ready to come to New Orleans and serve the people, unpaid, volunteer, and our government said no. George Bush said no. Absolutely not.
Don't worry about them niggas. We'll take care of them.
And they did. Did not. And they're not going to take responsibility for that aspect in the ways that other more liberatory countries were trying to actually support, to practice what they preach. And then they still made them to be the enemies that was going to come in and do something negative, or made all these rumors up about them. So, they're not even apologizing for the in totality.
No, they're just like, oh yeah, FEMA could have had a better evacuation system. That's not the big travesty of Katrina. That's one of the many travesties.
Right.
But these people lost, like the levees, the lack of money that was invested in the infrastructure for the levees. These people lost land. They lost homes. And who do you bet came in after Katrina when people couldn't afford to go back because they didn't have the homeowners insurance to protect them from flooding? Went in, wealthy developers, and bought all that land.
The biggest scammers.
Thieves.
Literally the looters.
The real looters and shooters.
The real looters.
In Katrina, the vigilante groups who came out to protect property. So they shot people trying to break into stores and get baby formula and water. Those are the shooters and the looters.
Yeah.
So those are things that the government, there's a clear case where the government failed to provide a service to citizens. And so therefore, when there is a legal failure, you can sue for restitution, which is reparations.
Hello.
It's really simple. It's a legal matter. It's not about forget the morality of, black people, have had harm. Like, I won't say forget it, but we don't even have to run it on that. Legally.
Yeah.
We are owed
money. I mean, at this point, my question is it going to require a full-on revolution to get reparations. Like, to me, part of me is like, this racial capitalist ass country is not going to give us reparations. We're going to have to get rid of the largest of the capitalist forces in order to get reparations? Or is it that we fight for reparations in order to make a revolution more possible? Because then we would actually have the resources. Then we might have something.
Yeah.
We might have something that could actually meet or try to meet the weight class of what we're fighting up against, which is, we're fighting against hegemony, U.S. imperialism. Yeah. And so we're going to need a lot more than what we fucking have to fight against it. And maybe reparations could make that more possible. So that's my big question that I have for all of y'all. Like, I'm genuinely kind of curious about it. Obviously, I'm on the fence of maybe it's going to have to be a fight, then reparations. But we really need them reparations in order to make it possible.
We do.
So it's like, which, is the chicken or the egg? It's kind of like that type of question that I'm holding for us, but also for y'all.
Yeah. I think with this moment in history, as a lot of particularly Black voters are becoming really weary of the Democratic Party and looking into socialism and other forms of governance, is that this is an opportunity for us to really build a new politic.
Yeah.
One that's centered around us. And I'll admit that when I say I love the podcast, just like y'all listening to, because it stretches me, even though, I'm supposedly one of the guides and the host of it, right? Because sometimes, we can get into a lot of lip service about, I want Black liberation for myself and for my community. But then we got to be specific. I respect your ambition.
But you gotta
have vision. And now I'm like, if someone was to come to me and say, well, what are your demands? Reparations is first out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Because we are owed that repair to even be able to do and get the other things that we want. And so, like, that has to be a part of our actual politics.
Yes.
Reparations is not like a, wouldn't that be nice? Porch conversation thing.
It's really not.
It's about, as we think about going into these socialist parties or whatever other candidates that may be coming up, us being the ones to go to them and say, you want to steal us from this party? Because we have switched parties before as a constituency, and we can do it again, and we have to do it again to survive.
We actually do.
We have to. So we got to go and say, you would like our vote, so nice. Thank you for having us to this brunch with Snoop Dogg and Jazz.
Right.
And what we want is reparations.
Yeah.
So when you get the power, and not you as if it will not be a Black person, but when whoever's running, Black, white, anything in between, when the power is had, what's up with them reparations?
That's the question.
And I think it's more possible, once again, under a socialist government, because socialism is not innately against using government funds for the better good of people. But capitalism, which both parties protect, they are they like, whoa. We don't. Now, Democrats, of course, do believe in SNAP or something like that. But SNAP is a survival program. It's not revolutionary.
Right.
And the coins we need are very revolutionary. I would like the money to be printed on red bills.
Print mine in red, please.
Print mine in red, please. I don't even mind when I walk up in the store. Oh, here comes that Black girl with them reparation dollars slamming it on the counter.
Exactly.
I would like a hot cocoa, please. So I want us to like think about what our politics under an evolving regime would look like when we come back to the table in 2028. What are we demanding?
Yeah.
What's the vision?
That is the question. If there are other organizations also that that are doing work around reparations, please please comment, like
let us
add
know.
them.
I've heard of some that are actually against land back.
Yeah.
And once again, we'll always argue about how reparations should be achieved.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in, what else you all know about organizations and how they feel about.
Yeah, what's the politic on reparations? I mean, I've only heard in one like variation of a Pan-Africanism that is because of the U.S. that it doesn't belong to black people, essentially, that it actually belongs to indigenous Native American people, and that we should not be fighting. We, as in, descendants of African people, should not be fighting for ownership of land here because it technically should belong to the indigenous Native Americans. That's the only kind of rhetoric, and I'm saying this loosely. I don't know the full scope of it, so if there's more to be read about it or even watched on this, I don't think it's anti-reparations. It's definitely not anti.
It's
but it's a
form.
It's a prioritization of reparations as a fight. But on this podcast, Revolutionary Baddies, we are for repair. All of it.
And because reparations doesn't have to look like money.
It doesn't.
Just money. We do want the money, though.
But we need all of it.
All of it, yeah.
We literally need all of it. And we deserve all of it. And so that's our politic around this.
And if you don't say, well, that's a Revolutionary Baddies politic. The Black Panthers party that y'all love so much, that was a part of their 10-point program. Point number 3.
Absolutely. We go back,
read the pamphlet.
Go back to our episode on the Black Panther Party.
They said, we want the money. Cash.
I think that's all power to the people. It's called All Power to the People. That's our Black Panther Party episode. But yes, we want to thank y'all so much for listening in on our deep dive of reparations, the history of it, and why we should all be organizing around it.
Yeah.
There's lots of local efforts also that exist. There's an organization called Reparations Ventures that has a map on their website of all of the kind of local, it's not a long list.
Yeah.
It's a short list. But there are localized efforts around reparations that are happening across the country. It's about 2 or 3 that exist here in North Carolina. So shout out to folks in Asheville. I believe folks are in Greenville also working around reparations connected things. So shout out to the local organizing that's also happening around reparations. But yeah, we want to thank y'all so much for listening to this episode. We are towards the end of the year, so we want to hope that everyone has a beautiful holiday, and that you all didn't indulge too much in the capitalist consumerism.
No. They owe us money. Stop.
They owe us money. So don't do too much, but hope you all enjoy it. And we would love a little Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's gift from you as well.
Hello.
Please.
Give women money. Give women money. Give women money. Please. We are owed reparations from our men. Men, give us money. Give us money.
We have our Patreon again at patreon.com/revolutionarybaddies. You can listen and share all of our podcast episodes. We are on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all kind of places you can find our podcast. And we're also on YouTube. Please subscribe, comment,
link in our bio,
like, share, subscribe. All the things, star, review, all the things. And you can visit our Instagram. We're on IG. You can find us also on Threads. We're on Facebook. All things Revolutionary Baddies. That's us.
Yeah. Spread the word.
Spread the word.
While you're hanging out with people for the holidays, bring up reparations.
Spread the good news. Spread the good news. We want to thank y'all again so much for listening to us, and we will be back soon.
Chat soon.